Hey, this is Hunter Henry of the LA Chargers, and you're watching MUT Force. Bolt up, baby.
What's up, guys? It's the director and the Trumpetmonkey.
Hey, yeah, guys!
So we had ourselves an eventful week last week, Trumpetmonkey, wouldn't you say? I think something maybe not everybody knows yet as far as our viewership goes on MUT Force. Tell us what went down.
We finally met, lover.
So here's Monkey and the director.
What are we doing? How are we in
this room? We got rooms opposite each other in the hotel.
Specially requested and specially
We have changed the name of the 16th floor to Anzac. Here we're going to get the elevator. So we met about 10 minutes ago downstairs, and we're now going to get. No, that's I'm pushing the wrong button here. We're all over the shop here. We're now going to get our passes for Disneyland! What could possibly go wrong?
After so long, Trumpetmonkey, we finally got to unite. Mrs. Director was there. We got to go out to EA Play. Such an awesome experience. We got to meet some other peeps while we were out there as well.
how was Disneyland?
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Too much fun has been had. How do we do it with like holding the phone? Is that
I'm just
okay?
gonna wait until I'm in the room.
Oh, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, like all of our heroes from EA and all the other epic content creators out there. Not all of them, obviously, but a large amount of them, and it was pretty epic, man. I have to say. And as well
some
as
points,
meeting,
I felt a little out of place. Like I was at a wedding wearing a T-shirt and flip flops. Like, hey, look at all these people. Like it was nuts.
Definitely, I had a couple of like kind of pinch me moments, especially chatting with the guys from the EA team, and that was pretty surreal. That was kind of like, what? Good to meet Adam Rank.
Adam Rank from NFL Network. The dude has won me a couple of NFL fantasy championships. Really cool. We got to have lunch with him, go down there, check it out, pick his brain a little bit. It was a good time.
And then in the creators cave at EA Play, Trevor Noah, that was pretty cool. Juju, we got to what, man? Juju is an amazing wide receiver. Amazing.
I was gonna say, we got to meet everybody at EA and a bunch of creators from YouTube. Well, but Juju Smith-Schuster's also on that list, and that was pretty
Juju's
unique.
in there.
If you guys saw on Twitter that clip of that girl just absolutely juking out Juju with the soccer ball, Trumpetmonkey had a first-hand experience with that too.
Wait a second, director. You mean this clip right here?
Oh!
Good lord.
So lots and lots of stuff going down in LA this last week.
And Dr. Disrespect before he got the ban as well.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
He was at E3 when he got the ban. He was not at EA Play. He's actually a stand-up bloke, I gotta tell you. He was a really nice guy. I watched him walk inside, like, so in the outside area with the public inside EA Play though.
Yeah.
For like, it took him half an hour to get like 100 yards because he stopped for photos with everybody, which was awesome. And the dude is a giant. He's like taller than me, man. Like, he's a big dude. He's really tall.
That's what I thought of you too, dude. Like when we first met, it was a really unique experience meeting you for the first time, Trumpetmonkey. So imagine me and Trumpetmonkey have been friends for what, like 3 years, and all that time he's just been this little dude screaming at me from a little box on my computer. Walking into the hotel the first day, I look up to see Trump. I don't look up to many people. Trumpetmonkey definitely one of those guys.
But I mean, you're tall too, man, and Mrs. Director's pretty tall as well. To the extent like that I nearly didn't recognize you at first. I was like, oh, that's them. Let's go. And don't forget as well, at EA Play they have like all the content creators from all of the different games, and so that was also cool for the likes of yourself and myself, who are massive Star Wars nerds on the side, meet meet the team who makes Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, and all the content creators behind it. But then on top of that, all the other content creators as well. You got the FIFA guys who are really nice. You got the Anthem guys, the Battlefield guys, the Battlefront we mentioned, and then of course Anthem, and don't forget all of the Sims content creators.
There was like 700 of them.
There were so many Sims content creators. To you, we say Sul.
And a shout out to the Anthem guys as well. We were walking down the street in LA, and we run into this place called the Rusty Mullet. Immediately, me and Trumpetmonkey are looking at each other like, we got to eat here at least one point. We decided to jump in there. Off the side of the street, the Anthem guys peek in. We're like, oh, it's the guys, the Madden guys. And they came in, and then after that, everything is black. Everything went black. I do not remember anything after that point.
Let's just say, a night in the Rusty Mullet is a night to forget. Wait, I forget. No, yes? I don't know. No, it was fun though. It was epic. It was great, mate. It was great to see you, big guy. Love you.
To meet you, dude. It's such a unique experience. We'll put more clips and stuff out of what it was like. But yeah, it was definitely awesome. You know what, Trumpetmonkey, I think we actually have a short compilation video of our experience out there at EA Play. It's very in depth. There's a lot of detail-oriented stuff, and I think it's important for the people to see.
Run it, director! Run it!
EA Sports. It's in the butterbeer.
EA Sports. It's in the hallway.
EA Sports. It's in the parcels. EA Sports. It's in the mummy ride. EA Sports. It's in the bus.
EA Sports. It's in the pool. EA Sports. It's in the elevator.
EA Sports. It's in the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. EA Sports. It's in the crowd. EA Sports. It's in the door knock.
Director!
EA Sports. It's in the parking meter. EA Sports. It's in the Game Changers guys holding signs dancing. EA Sports. It's in the Water World. EA Sports. It's in Harry Potter Wizarding World. EA Sports. It's in the Hogwarts Express. EA Sports. It's in the Sorting Hat. EA Sports. It's in Venice Beach. EA Sports. It's on the escalator. EA Sports. It's in the Universal Tour. EA Sports. It's in the palm trees. EA Sports. It's in the Santa Monica Pier. EA Sports. It's in the mountains. EA Sports. It's in the graffiti. EA Sports. It's in the Hogwarts. EA Sports. It's in Moe's. EA Sports. It's in the Krusty Burger. EA.
Oh man,
it was a good time. It was a good time. Oh my god! Everywhere we went, like me and Mrs. Director would turn to each other like, where'd Trumpetmonkey go? And we turned back and he's like filming something like EA Sports, and there's like 4 people behind him like, what the hell is he doing over there? But that was a good time. It was good.
Who is this EA guy? What's happening over here? What is he doing?
I love it when it was somewhere quiet as well. And then like I have this big loud voice, EA Sports. It's in the game. And then like everyone's like,
what? Who is that?
Imagine being trapped in an elevator with a psychopath. EA Sports. It's in floor 1, 2, 3, 4.
Very, very true. Very, very true.
I think what made it most unique for me was the fact that I had met you, I don't know, like 6 hours before we were off to Disneyland. So not only was it the first time for us meeting, the next day we're in the happiest place on earth, yakking it up, causing some trouble. Good time.
Disneyland's great. Disneyland is epic. But being at Disneyland with your buddy from across the seas is even better.
That's where the magic happens.
Pretty awesome, right? And we can't say much, but we're not done colluding just yet as well. There may be some meetups in our future, but say no more. It was epic, but let's give the people what they came to hear and see, director. This is MUT Force Madden 20 edition. We played the game. We played the game for how many?
Played
Like
the
about,
game, Trumpetmonkey.
oh, we played the game
We
for
played
like
the hell
10,
out of the game.
10 hours. It's side by side with other epic content creators, Anto and Cookie Boy, and we're just playing the game. Mill, they're having the best time ever, right? Not the expert. Oh my God, legendary.
Was it just me, Trumpmonkey, or was it like, did every now and then you like peek over to the other YouTubers, like, I hope they don't find out. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Or, like, I'm just trying to like fill some time on the Madden 20.
That's it. I think the biggest giveaway was when I was holding the controller the upside down the wrong way, and then they were kind of like, "Does this guy even Madden?" But look, after we got the controller around the right way, we did play for 10 hours at EA Play. We weren't allowed to do any capture. That's fine. And hot tip, guys, if you're playing the beta, don't do any film capture, okay? Because that can ruin it for everybody. That means that could mean no beta next year. You never know, okay? So don't ruin it. Wait for like the official gameplay release videos.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. You will be publicly shamed and shunned. But we'll still give you a hug. But it'll be more like you shouldn't have done that hug. But we have so much feedback about the gameplay. And bear in mind as well that the access we were given. So if you're playing the beta right now, you can basically play franchise and you can play exhibition games, and that's it. We were given access to the whole current state of the game, Ultimate Team as well, MUT drafts, franchise, QB1 face of the franchise. We got our hands on all of it for 10 hours. Non-frickin' stop over 2 days, bro. And it was epic. We loved it. And what we want to do for you now is we decided on this MUT Force episode is to break it down by position group, our takeaways by position group. And I believe we are about to start that right now, Director, starting with who? Well, yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into all these positions and our thoughts on Madden 20 in this week's content. All right, Trumpetmonkey, we are breaking down our thoughts on Madden 20, and we're going to go by position too. But first, before we get into the position by position, there are some things, specific to gameplay that are a bit different, like Ultimate Team and stuff like that. So first thoughts, there's not a lot in Ultimate Team right now. We got to do some of the drafts and stuff like that, which were pretty cool. What are your first impressions? Let me say, like, even on the user interface of Madden 20 Ultimate Team.
I like it. It definitely feels a little smoother than the menu elements in the interface, just navigating for me than Madden 19. So straight away, there's an improvement there. I really, really like some of just the small things that they've done in terms of the layout. We're not allowed to say too much about that, except to say that you can tell they're focused on what they call UX, user experience, a little bit. Okay. Like one thing we are allowed to talk about, because I know it was kind of covered, but it feels and plays so well, is the ability to skip. When you finish one solo, just start up the next one.
Oh, yeah.
That was really, really cool. But also, there's now no longer this screen of like the controller select your side and also like, select your game mode. Do you want exhibition or do you want like, quick? And I love that. It just goes straight into the game. And I felt like load times were a little quicker, but that I could be getting ahead of myself. We didn't time that, actually. It was more like I came away after it. Maybe that was just a combination of all the user experience feeling great, as well as the ability to just go to the next solo. But I really like the little things, like not having to select the controller and what side you're playing and what game, what kind of game view you want. Like that those seconds add up. When you're playing 1,000 solos, those seconds, those tens of seconds add up. So I really, really like that.
It definitely comes down to the quality of life improvements that they've done in the game. It all feels very congruent. I'm sure grinding solos in Madden 20 is going to feel less tasking than it and it has in previous years. And I was really happy about that. What did you think about the draft? Champions.
My draft was really good. We can't necessarily talk about the overalls or anything like that. But I will say this, okay? as is expected in Madden Ultimate Team, you start with a low overall team. Remember that every year. Now, I believe it'll probably be the same this year. You start with those bronzy type cards in there. I can neither confirm nor deny that, though, director. But the difference between playing then with those low cards and then the cards you get in MUT drafts is like night and day. And what was great about that was, here I was playing a solo, struggling to beat an all Madden difficulty solo, then going into MUT drafts and just playing against the CPU there and spanking them. And I was like, damn, this is why you pre-order right there on the screen. Great timing right there. This is why you pre-order, to try and get your hands on like as many of those like nice cards on day one as you can.
And that means more this year than it has in previous years, because in the solos you've got an option to play different difficulties in order to get better rewards. If you've got a lesser team, it's definitely, we felt it. With a lesser team, it's a lot harder to even win solos. If you got better players on your team, they stand out as playmakers on your squad. And that's why it's important to really focus on those positions that are going to help you win games early. And then from there, you can stack the rewards going on. So you definitely, if you're thinking about getting like the Ultimate Edition or whatever, I would recommend it, even if you're a solos guy.
Yeah, you bet. And you just want to be getting as many of those extra packs and cards as you can on day one. Believe us when we say that will help, okay? So we're no money spent, but we normally buy like the Ultimate Legend Hall of Fame Diamond Edition of we're gonna buy like the best possible pre-order that we can, and that's what we recommend you doing as well.
We're
now,
in real life, we're big spenders. At the Rusty Mullet Bar, we were all over those junkyard dogs like they were going out of style. So I don't know, man. It feels really good.
Dogs.
The difference in MUT cards specifically too, like it feels like every player has their specific strengths and weaknesses. And they stand out as better players, especially if you take into account the scheme that you're running and the kind of offense or defense that you're running. So keep that in mind, that the uniqueness of gameplay, I feel is way better than we've seen in the past couple of years. And that's something that's kept, at least for me, every game somewhat fresh, which is very cool.
110%. Let's get into it, director. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the positions then. We got so much to talk about.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the Madden 20 gameplay by position special. Quarterback. All right, John Monkey, let's have you start off this segment for us. Quarterback gameplay, perhaps the most important position to every Madden player on the face of the planet. What are some of your first impressions on how the quarterback played in Madden 20?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, like, obviously, most important position probably on the football field. Touches the ball every play on offense. Touches the ball more than anybody. I really liked it. Okay, so like the pocket is collapsing very quickly. We'll touch on that when we talk about D-line. Okay, so we're still the D-line thunder right there. The pocket collapses really, really quickly. Okay, so one thing though that they've got to like counter that is if you're spamming like the snap button, the moment you walk up to the line, okay, like your QB just like comes away with the ball really quick. It's like he yanks it out of there, like he's pulling it out of the jaws of a beast or something.
Yeah.
So the snap is quicker. All right. And then you're able to get a throw off like it's just that much quicker than last year. You can be spamming like those like quick slants in Madden 19, but in Madden 20, man, they're zinging out, okay? And what's really, really interesting is like the quick passing game, like the real kind of quick short dots are gonna be a thing, okay? They're gonna be a thing.
I'm gonna step in and say I do think the dominant scheme, at least from my first impression, it's going to be something of a spread or a West Coast. You're going to want to get the ball out really quick, but the opportunities will be there. I think one of the best examples of, let's say, your release on a quarterback that I noticed were with the new RPOs. There's some really unique and fun RPOs to use in Madden 20. And in order for an RPO to work most of the time, especially if you're looking at, what do they call it, a lookie, an X-lookie or something like that, where you've got a slant coming off the side, or you can let your halfback run to the outside. You need to pretty much be spamming X as soon as you snap the ball if you've read that the linebacker isn't going to drop back and pick it off. So that is a really cool way to utilize and kind of get used to it, but definitely the release time is in the favor of making stuff like that work.
And accuracy is so crucial this year. Now, remember, we played a very early version of the game, okay, even earlier than the open beta that's happening right now, okay?
Which received an 8 gigabyte update before we all even started, so that speaks volumes.
So understand, there will be slight adjustments from what we observed, though, okay? The accuracy of your QB is absolutely going to be paramount. It's going to be king. It's really going to affect, like, my choices day one. I'm going to be going for accuracy over speed. I'm probably going to be going for accuracy over throw power. The more accurate, the better, in my humble opinion, as of right now. The other thing I really like about QB play this year is the throwing animations. Look like they just got so much more motion capture on, like, actual NFL players, okay? And the QBs out there. I got to play with Derek for a little bit, Derek Carr, which was so nice, okay? And then there's a long windup for deep throws. Okay? A long windup, be ready for that.
So no more, seeing somebody open like deep and chucking it and being ready for the ball to release right away. No, you gotta anticipate the timing of it a lot more when you're going down deep. And I love that because it makes passing deep a lot riskier, which is the way it should be. And to step in and to add to what you were saying before, regarding quarterbacks, I was using 2 quarterbacks in my franchise play, being Phillip Rivers, more of a dominant pocket passer, and then I wanted to develop Easton Stick, our new mobile backup quarterback. And I think I got him up to, somewhere in the mid 80s in development. So he was a pretty good quarterback as far as overall is concerned at that point of development. Now, the difference I saw between a pocket passer and a mobile quarterback was absolutely massive. Phillip Rivers, you can count on him making, pretty much every read to the closest perfection you can, considering pressure and all that. But my mobile quarterback, definitely, I noticed a lot more struggle in hitting those open receivers. There's a lot of games that could have gone one way, but because I had a mobile quarterback out there, it shifted the way I had to play my offense. And so that's going to be a really unique factor in Madden 20, your quarterback selection, and then the offensive scheme you're using to utilize that quarterback. So I'm going to say this, I think pocket passers are back, and that's something that I've really wanted to see in Madden for the past couple years.
No, definitely. And that pocket is collapsing quickly, so you got to make good reads, which I am a massive fan of when it comes to head-to-head play.
Yeah, and with the pocket collapsing that quickly too, I'm not sure that. I mean, I'm sure later on when they're higher overalls, they'll be better. But it feels like even mobile quarterbacks struggle because you've only got, a fraction of a second to make a read or get outside the pocket, and even when you do, they're going to catch you pretty quick.
You bet. So for me, I really like the quarterback play so far, and I expect only kind of better things to be coming as well. So, I enjoyed it, Director. So 2 thumbs up from the monkey right now.
Feels good. Let's move on to our next position on this breakdown.
Running backs.
We're down to the running backs, ladies and gentlemen. Running backs. Now, something that Trumpetmonkey mentioned just a moment ago about the fluency of animation, it feels like this is very important to the running back position. I feel like there's been a very nice blend of animations and physics this year. I don't know if it's because there's more animations or if the physics are playing a bigger role, but it just feels like everything moves more congruently. And when you're talking about a running back, you're looking at lanes, you're looking at opportunities to go outside, you're looking at coverage, and if things are a little, jolty, it's not going to be as smooth of an experience. Whereas this year definitely feels like you've got that lane that you can hit without that, jitterness in the animations.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you spoke about it. The fluidity. I mean, what am I trying to say? The fluid running motion. The fluidity is like spot on. That's the best way to describe it. When it comes to running backs, again, I just love the physics of the collisions in Madden 20. I can't say that enough. Like growing up, both of us growing up playing playing rugby video games and watching a lot of rugby. Like that's the first thing that attracts you to the NFL is the hits. Okay, and then when you play NFL games, like you just want to feel those realistic hits and those collisions. And I love it. I love it the way that the way that running backs get tackled and always kind of get a couple of yards. The couple of things I really, really love, okay, is like I think it's depending on the type of running back. Maybe it's the fight for extra yards trait. Neither denied or confirmed that. But there is this animation where once you're wrapped up around the legs, your running back kind of like leans forward and planks the whole length of his body, falling forward, like planking, making a plank out of his whole body, like a tree falling, to get like an extra 3 yards or so that is the length of his body. It just looks so authentic. It feels so good. I absolutely love that they made one massive change this year. If you're now holding down sprint and you run into the back of one of your O linemen, you don't start to stumble or fall over anymore. That was one of my biggest pet grievances. I couldn't stand that in MUT 19. I was like, why are they falling over? These are the most balanced, agile athletes in the world. They're not just going to fall over because they run into the back of an O lineman. They do it all day at training. And now in Madden 20, I'm delighted to say that you just kind of bounce around a little bit. You don't fall over. You definitely lose momentum. That's physics, baby. But you bounce off the back of your O lineman and you kind of navigate naturally towards holes, which I really, really like. So what that allows for is that Le'Veon Bell, like really, really delayed running. Yeah, that patient running style. That's a thing now in Madden 20 in both like solo and head-to-head play.
You know what it reminds me of? When they were first announcing Madden 19 and RPM, real player motion, was first being introduced to the community. You saw these gameplay animations, or I should say cinematics, of Saquon Barkley, like, edging his O lineman, out of the way so he could hit the lane. And that didn't really work in Madden 19. What you're talking about here definitely works in Madden 20, and it does make the fluidity of everything feel so much more authentic. And to add to the uniqueness of running backs too, is we got Alvin Kamara up on the screen. Alvin Kamara is going to play a lot different than, let's say, a Christian McCaffrey or a Todd Gurley. So the animation you're talking about of like the full body plank to fight for extra yards, you maybe don't see that as much with like a receiving halfback. They're going to be more of a slippery sort of dude. I've noticed this with Austin Eckler on the Chargers. He's more of a receiving back. When you try and tackle Melvin Gordon, he'll fall forward. When you try and tackle Austin Eckler, he'll kind of like try and slip out of the tackle to gain more yards. And that's something that I see that in all the positions. The uniqueness and how that specific player plays and how their, the type of player they are goes into your scheme. So when you're coming out, third down back, you do want Austin Eckler rather than Melvin Gordon.
It's true. And as well, then let's talk about like the major halfback moves. Okay. Stiff arms look I thought stiff arms were really, really nice in Madden 19. They've gotten even better. Jukes are now, I think, the main move, jukes. Okay. Well, you will definitely beat a lot of first tacklers. Whether or not you beat the second one, though, looks a little bit more realistic. So sometimes if you're doing like full speed juke, it does take you a moment to get that momentum back a little bit, and you might get tackled. But jukes are definitely working. Spins, I like this. Spins are a lot slower, a lot more laborious. However, you've seen there's some X factor abilities that are circulating around there. I think we can talk about that. Yeah. The likes of Lev Bell becomes a quicker spinner once you activate his X factor. So this type of thing. So like that's really, really cool.
And you have to account for that.
I like it. Yeah,
you definitely have to account for that. So there are specific players with abilities that have better spin or juke.
And you got to have good catching on your halfback on third down, like you said.
Yeah, that's why I utilize Austin Eckler on third down situations, because I know he'll catch the ball and run with it. But with certain players, I don't know if I should say who, but some of them, like the juke move is disgusting, like just like so fast, and that opens up so many opportunities to get further down the field, where you didn't see that in Madden 19 almost at all. Juking, like no one really juked. This year, I think it's very specific to the players that you're using, and the guys that can juke, it is so satisfying, that first juke, and it's just disgustingly quick. I haven't played with a lot of guys that are very good at spinning yet, but I actually found myself not using it as much because of how good the juke is this year.
You bet. And we're gonna be talking about O-line a little bit later. It obviously blocking ties into the running back game, but I would just say that the two complement each other well. That's all we can say for now. But running backs, we love the physics and the collisions of it. The real play motion in year 2 is even better. And
one last thing to mention too,
real.
about the halfbacks. Screens work again. They haven't worked, I guess, the tail end of Madden 19 for some reason. This year, so far, from what I can tell, if the situation is correct for it, screens can be pretty deadly again. That's something a lot of people utilized in previous Maddens.
Well, in real life, that is the way that you counter a really aggressive pass rush. And we're going to talk about how aggressive the pass rush is a bit later. We've already told you that the pocket collapses very quickly, so it's good that screens are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Wide receivers.
All right, Trumpetmonkey, wide receivers.
Wide receivers.
This is such a big one as far as like the difference I've noticed between 19 and 20. Take it away, Trumpetmonkey. What makes Madden 20 unique with their wide receivers?
Have you seen my wide receiver? Have you seen my baseball? Wide receivers. Okay, so finally, this may be the year that speed is no longer king. Okay, we noticed very, very early on because you start by playing the Pro Bowl. That's what we did as well when we're in EA Play, and we noticed straight away. And we'll talk about DB separately, but the press is a real thing now, as it should be. Okay, so we can tell you right now, drags and crosses against man coverage do not work as well as they did in Madden 19. They barely work at all, actually, and like just because you have a speedy wide receiver, they don't work. Okay, in bump coverage especially. Okay, so
Just how it's supposed to be.
It's how it's supposed to be. So what does that mean? That means like it's no longer about the fastest wide receiver that you got on a drag route. No. It's all about the release and the route running, which I absolutely love. We can't tell you his overall, but I can tell you right now that for me, the best wide receiver I played with, and I played with all of them, was DeAndre Hopkins, Nuke Hopkins.
Yes.
He is the perfect balance of amazing route running, great release, okay, and just enough speed. We can't say how fast, okay, but just enough speed. And that is the type of wide receiver that I will be targeting day one of the game, okay, because that release is so important. So you can, by the way, if DBs are playing off even 5 yards, the quick slant is open. You got to read the linebacker, not even the DB. The quick slant's open pretty much every single time, okay? It's really, really crazy. So that when we're talking about like dotting up and short passing games, like getting 5 yards and then tackled, that's going to be a lot of game plans this year, okay? It's really, really hard to wait for, I guess, a deep post route, a one-play touchdown to develop, and the crossing routes to develop. It really depends on the defense that's being called. So for me, though, that kind of really, really like strong-rated release and route running and just enough speed wide receiver is who I'm looking for. Interestingly, though, in bump coverage, okay, there is a weakness. With a good release, your wide receiver will get behind the corner really quickly. We'll talk more about how safeties play. There is an opportunity to dot a pass in there as well. It's all about that release, though. I can't wait. Like the two wide receivers I had the most fun with were Nuke Hopkins and Mike Evans, and I played with a lot of them over the 10 hours. Let me tell you, and those that should give you an indication of the type of wide receiver that I believe is going to be super OP this year. And I cannot wait.
Possession.
Possession receivers, I think, finally are going to be stepped into the limelight in Madden 20. And so when we played the Pro Bowl on Madden 20, you get the experience of playing with Tyreek Hill right away. And Tyreek Hill, you're going to come out thinking Madden 19 plays. You're going to be thinking, slants and drags, your 5-yard plays. I noticed a lot with Tyreek Hill. The bump coverage was very aggressive, and he wasn't coming off as quickly. Now, switching over, let's say, to the Chargers, who I definitely played with a lot. Keenan Allen is an absolute disgusting human being when it comes to those in routes, those slants. He makes his cuts so sharply and smooth that he actually comes up with bigger plays. Not for as many like breakout touchdowns, but he comes up with the big plays when needed because he's got that really high route running and what's the word I'm looking for? Not press, the other one. And release. And that is what I think is going to be such a huge benefit to a lot of people's game plans this year, is being able to utilize these wide receivers that maybe you had written off because of their speed in Madden 19 and previous.
Yeah. Now, and if you time a pass perfectly on a really good route running wide receiver on, say, a C route as they break out, You pass it just as they're hitting that final kind of corner break. The ball is getting in. High points at the moment, it appear like, are a thing. Okay, we'll talk more about that when it comes to
if you've
DBs,
got the quarterback to utilize them.
Yeah, if you decide to high point deep down the field into a one-on-one coverage, it is, and I kind of like this. It is favoring the big, tall frame of a wide receiver as well, which personally I believe is the way the game should play. I kind of like that. I like that. So we'll talk more about the way DBs react a little bit later in the show, and there's definitely positives there. Don't get me wrong. However, wide receivers, a skill position, the way it should be. Director and I have an early kind of way too hot take as well. Early prediction is that budget beasts are not going to be a thing this year. The only way that you're going to utilize speed on a budget beast is in some type of flood concept where you literally have 3 wide receivers in an area of the field defended by, say, 2 DBs or something like that, and you can utilize speed there, which is very realistic as well. I got to say, I like it. I feel like the year of the wide receiver budget beast, it will not be. That was Madden 19, 100%, but we'll talk about later on where I believe there will be some budget beasts coming in for sure in other positions on the field. But wide receivers, it will not be this year. The year of the skilled wide receiver, the possession wide receiver is here, Director. I'm very excited about that.
And I couldn't be more excited. And a last thought to further add to the uniqueness of wide receivers, the abilities. You really do have to pay attention to what your receiver is capable of in very specific situations.
Right here, double me. This guy is going to be an animal. I can't wait, man. It's just going to be so fun.
That adds so much freshness to every single game because it's not only, what is this guy's speed? You don't have to, that's the only information you need to store in your brain for Madden 20 is how fast is this guy? In Madden 20, you literally have to almost study each wide receiver. Your knowledge of the NFL is going to come into play with every game. You've got Michael Thomas out wide. You've got to watch out because he's going to have a really quick release. If you're in a short, a third and short situation, you've got to make sure you've got somebody out there, covering the flat or something. Make sure that he is double covered even.
And so here's the final thing to say about wide receivers. The first comment that you see whenever a new wide receiver card is released is, this dude's too slow, I can't use him. Okay, you know what I mean? And in previous Maddens, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
A lot of time, it's really hard to use an Edelman.
You remember my Keenan Allen temper tantrum early Madden or Ultimate Team,
But this year, Madden 20, a Julian Edelman is going to be an MVP. So mark our words, it's the year, hot take of the skilled wide receiver position. We've already seen that, and not the year of the budget beast for wide receivers, and I love that. Next position group, Director.
Let's go. Next position group is...
Let's go!
Titans.
All right, Trumpet Monkey, my personal favorite position on the gridiron, the tight end position.
Well,
something that can get lost in previous Maddens. I don't know how many people schemed around their tight ends as much in Madden 19. Well, I think it's going to become way more prevalent in Madden 20.
I did, but I used the flats a hell of a lot when playing online. But really just for speed, man, for Cookie and for Kittle, that was it, man. And what I really love about tight end play this year is that something we spoke about earlier. The physics of Madden have changed and gotten better in Madden 20, 100% for the better. The actual physical body size and shape, the height and weight and width of players matters, and it really matters in a position like tight end. So I was able to go both kind of competitive and also so that's online play on the beta, but also then on the hardest possible setting with a very budget tight end who had a big frame. And I was able to lead passes to the inside of the field away from a DB. And we're seeing the tight end do exactly what they do in real life, which is like boxing out in basketball, turn their whole body so the DB's over the back and shield the ball from the DB and make a possession catch. And it felt so good. That's exactly, that means, so what are you doing? As a player with the QB, you're leading inside, making a great read like a real quarterback. And then what is your tight end doing? Playing the ball perfectly. The way the two synced up, I absolutely loved it. That and high points, man, we're going to talk about DBs later, but I literally had the hardest time ever stopping high points, the CPU high pointing against tight ends with my DBs. It was so interesting, which is exactly like real life. Remember how people say, like, no one can match up against Gronk? It's because very few people can. And it's because he's such a huge physical specimen as well as the skill. I got to tell you, tight ends play so well for me as well.
It feels definitely more authentic to the real NFL experience. Yeah. I mean, okay, so tight end was a position that I played back in the day. And there was sometimes these linebackers or corners, let's call them the Ernies, where they're like maybe 5'8", 5'9". You're always hoping to get matched up against the Ernies because no matter how good they are, you're still like half a human being bigger than they are. You know what I mean? And so you can go up and make those catches. You can go up and create those mismatches. And I think that's the ultimate mismatch position on offense is your tight end. And I really feel that in Madden 20. So present.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And tight ends are beating press coverage like crazy in Madden 20. And I was the CPU was dotting me up something fierce, and I was dotting them up something fierce with quick little kind of hitch routes and in routes and out routes. That's a thing. And then when you lead the ball the correct way away from those DBs, or you throw it correctly, like a high point, man, you're spot on, director. It feels so authentic. And I love that finally, the actual body type, the physical specimen, the individual themselves who is like 6'5" and really wide and 250 pounds, is playing and feeling the way they should. And that's like one of your kind of decisive factors in that's why that's my starting tight end. And I just love the way it plays. And tight ends are blocking pretty well as well, just to mention that. I think so. Probably better even than previous years. Run blocking pretty well. Pass blocking, not so much. Maybe just a little better, but run blocking.
I think it's a little better. I've noticed a more secure edge when having the tight end block as well. So I think that does come into play. I don't know. It feels like you're a big human, and that's what it needs to feel like. Honestly, the first time I passed to Hunter Henry and he plowed over, I think it was Chris Harris Jr., I was like, this is great. It reminded me of my Turkey Bowl last year, matched up tight end versus a cornerback. And I remember coming off the slant and coming down with the possession, but I ran into the guy full speed. And I kind of like... I kind of like spun over a little bit, but I was still on my feet, and I look back, and there's just this human corpse on the ground moaning, and I'm sitting here like, oh, okay. So that's the kind of like feel that you want from a tight end. You're just this big human, and you want to dominate in those mismatches. So I don't know. Tight ends, I feel really happy about. I'm utilizing the crap out of him. Hunter Henry, I can guarantee you, like in my last 4 or 5 games, has gotten at least 70 receptions, 70 receiving yards, and a few scores in here and there. And that's a lot more than I could say my utilization was in Madden 19.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, it's just awesome. So, like, I can't wait. I hope that continues to play like that. I hope that the tight ends continue to play like that throughout the whole year. It's just going to be awesome,
just
man.
Imagine when the overalls become higher, how much better they're going to be in the blocking as well, which is something that I really want to utilize this year. So tight ends, bravo, very happy.
And so tight end budget beasts, I think, are going to be a thing this year. Definitely wide receivers, no. Tight ends, yes, though. So that's interesting. That's great, though. Next position, group director.
Next position.
Build me an O-line worthy of Mordor.
All right, Trumpetmonkey, offensive line, the most unappreciated humans on the grid. Iron, what do we have to say about them? Compliments or bashfulness?
They're in the passing game. They're about to be unappreciated, but I like it, and I want to mention honorary member of MUT Force Zan and a tweet I saw of his there. The pocket, we know, is collapsing really, really quickly. Why is that a good thing? That means because you won't be able to sit in the pocket for 10 seconds waiting for, crossing routes to develop and one-play touchdowns. I kind of like this. In the NFL, in real life, it is pretty rare for a quarterback to have more than 4 seconds in the pocket. These are some supreme athletes on both sides of the ball with blitz packages coming in. It's pretty rare. I think back when they did back when they were kind of analyzing, say, even the Broncos Super Bowl run, they were talking about what, 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds or something like that before Von Miller was getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Even getting chipped, that's the NFL right there. So our tackles at the moment getting slapped in the pass game, absolutely. Absolutely. And leaving a halfback in to block, it looks and feels great, but it only saves you a half a second or a second, which again is the way it should be. They're going for like the check down. They're going for like the chip block right there at the legs of the pass rush. Tackles probably getting spanked, and I don't think they're going to change it. I think they're going to leave it.
I actually don't have a problem with them leaving it the way it is right now.
Me neither. But you're going to want a really good tackle, but that's the NFL as well.
It's very important that the offensive line works as a cohesive unit. So if you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I think in MUT, it'll be maybe a little bit lesser of an issue because you will be able to afford an elite offensive line. But when you're going into regs or franchise, that luxury isn't going to be available to you as easily. So what I've noticed, let's say in my franchise, for instance, in my second year, I knew I wouldn't have Phillip Rivers, so I went and invested in my offensive line. I did notice a little bit more time, but not much, because of how expensive those positions can be. I can almost guarantee you guys, you go look at your real NFL team, and you take a look at how much your team is spending on each individual player. I almost guarantee you, if they're not in their rookie contract, those tackles, guards, and centers are probably going to be in like the top 5 players paid on your roster because they are that important. And in this case, it translates the same way. So the better guys are going to buy you a little bit more time, but they're so expensive, you may not have the luxury of having a full line of them available.
I will be definitely getting the best tackles I can get day one, and that's a hot tip right there. Now the guards are blocking really well in the pass game, and so are the centers. Okay, but the slide is important. Okay, and the ID, the mic is important this year. So remember we said that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in the run game though, I feel like the O-line is OP, is even better this year. And they're definitely getting down the field. I was told to look for this, and then I really noticed it. They're getting down the field on pull plays as well, like rummaging, mauling down the field, which I really, really like. It's like
so let me ask you this.
It feels really good in the run game,
would
and it
you
feels
say,
about as quick as it should in the pass game.
Would you say that you notice a big difference in blocking between, let's say, a zone run and a stretch?
For me, I feel like they're playing the stretch, they're playing the outside, and the toss is better this year. I feel like zone run was always really strong. Does that make sense?
I feel maybe it's just my experience because I haven't shifted off from a lot of teams other than the Chargers. I felt like my zone running was at times okay, but other than that, the stretch was definitely the way to go if you needed, bulk yards. Again, I think more data is required, but for me, definitely, I feel like the stretch is a little bit better than the zone as far as guards are concerned right now.
Yeah, you bet. And we said we talk about fullbacks with the O-line as well. Yeah. The fullbacks identifying who they should be blocking. When we played it and we gave this feedback, rest assured, guys, we feel as though that still needs a little bit of tweaking, okay? Fullbacks are kind of like going, oh, who should I block? And it's obvious to us, and we're not football players, so the fullback should know who he should be blocking. So that was one thing that needed a bit of work, keeping it real, okay? Fullback blocking, not fantastic. I like the way that halfbacks stay in to chip away and try and stop those rushes. But the pocket's collapsing really quick on pass plays for the O-line. But I feel like they're run blocking well.
Maybe that's what it is, that the fullback maybe needs a little bit more tweaking, because I like to run a lot out of the I, strong and weak. And the fullback's really important in those formations, so if he's not hitting his guy, that's probably where the success rate goes down. So I think a little bit of room for improvement is needed for the fullback.
You bet. And I can't wait to see the likes of Zan experimenting with the Fat Five theory again this year. I have a sneaking suspicion that you can get away with budget interior linemen. I really believe, guards especially this year. That's a hot take. So if you're building the O-line day one, you're going good tackles, a high awareness center, because remember that awareness lifts the whole O-line, okay? But maybe budget guards. I'm just saying, you go the Fat Five theory, just some big heavies in there. Can't wait to test it out a little bit more over the weekend, Director.
Woo! Get in that beta. Hopefully you guys picked yourself up a code. Let's move on to the next position, Trumpetmonkey.
Stop the defensive line. Blast him.
The defensive line, the man in the trenches.
D-line. So, man, everyone's talking about how OP defensive ends are, and it's true. Like, and you play the Pro Bowl first, okay? And like I lost when I played the Pro Bowl, I lost like 47-0 or something. And by the end, like by the third quarter, the X factors were like flaming for like both. But I was playing as an AFC, so both like DeMarcus Lawrence and Khalil Mack were flaming, and just I think Khalil Mack had like 8 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence had like 6.
That is such a reality
Aaron
right
Donald
now.
had like 4, and like oh man, the D line is so OP, and you're gonna want really, really good ends like day one in the game. That is really, really important. I didn't notice the interior linemen stopping the run very, very much. That is going to be so interior D linemen, the defensive tackles, that's going to be something to like keep a real eye on now.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can tell you right now, man, those edge rushers, whoo, they're amazing, man.
As far as the interior guys go, I did notice, shifting, playing different team from different team. There were some guys in that interior pass rush that were super, super hard to contain. Like, especially if you're trying to just get a simple run up the middle, it almost felt like they had Out My Way from Madden 19. It's just like instantly, whoosh, and you're down for -2 yards. So that could be interesting to keep an eye out for, especially when you're utilizing who you're going to put out there and what scheme. If you guys like to run, 4-3. And Chargers is a great example of that. Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram. That's going to be a huge headache to contain for any quarterback. And speaking of contain, what do you think of the contain this year? It's back. It's definitely back.
It is.
It's not.
It is. It's not working the way it's meant to 100% as well. Okay, and we're going to give some feedback on that. Like, we've had a bit more experience with that now. But I got to tell you, the way the pocket is just being crushed on against pass plays. Yeah, those D linemen, all of them, interior and outside, doing really, really well. We're going to talk about the next position group and who is stopping the run. It's not the D linemen though, so I agree with you. Like some of them seem to just get the shed really quickly. I'm hoping that a Snacks Harrison is going to be really OP'd. I'm hoping they're still going to make a few adjustments to that right there. Those space eaters, we'll see. And I think more experimentation is needed with 3-4 versus 4-3, and those of like chunky DNs as well. But your classic like pass rushing DNs are amazing. And also the pocket is collapsing no matter who you've got a defensive tackle. But if you have this guy, look at the timing on this. If you have Aaron Donald, lights out, baby. Good night. Just to be clear, in like 20 minutes of playing in the Pro Bowl, I got sacked like 20 times. It was hilarious.
This is the reality of it, folks. You've got to start making your reads a lot quicker, because everybody in MUT is going to have elite ends, and that the timing of your offense is going to become so important this year.
It's true. It's true. And I feel like this will be the year of budget defensive end beasts as well. I got to tell you. So it's going to be interesting.
I got to tell you,
Definitely.
playing franchise, you feel like you've kind of figured it out a couple of games in, and then you play the Bears. And there's nothing you can do to stop Khalil Mack. He is just in your face every single play. Running to the right is no longer an option. Every single run's got to go to the left. You've got to account for him. And that, again, I've spoken about this with other positions. The uniqueness of every end is different as well. You got J.J. Watt versus Joey Bosa. They play different, but they're so elite. You can utilize them differently as well. So it's so fresh. It's so fresh. I could scream.
It feels so good. And we're fans of the collapsing pocket. I want quick reads. I want like skilled gameplay, not just crossing routes. So like I'm all for it, man. But I feel like more experimentation needed, 3-4 versus 4-3. But we'll get back to you on that. Don't you worry.
Now, moving on to our next position, probably a better complement than they have been in the last couple of years. Let's move on to this next unit.
Linebackers.
So, Trumpetmonkey from the heart of Mordor. Linebackers. Now, as you said in our previous segment, linebackers, I feel, are way more important this year to stopping the run. As far as pass coverage, it's much different this year. But go ahead and start breaking this down. How do linebackers affect the run in 20?
So if you have like speed doesn't seem to matter. If you have like a high awareness, high play rec, like just call him a good linebacker that you would expect, either outside or interior linebacker that you would expect would be good against the run, like say a Sean Lee, okay?
Yeah.
Man, they are getting into the backfield and making tackles for losses, and and sometimes causing big hit stick fumbles in the backfield as well. That's something that I have seen a few times already. And that is exactly the way a linebacker should play. As director was saying there, and he could talk a little bit more about it, I'm having less success with interceptions on CPU-controlled linebackers. That's really, really interesting for me. What did you notice against the pass in particular with linebackers?
You've really got to close that gap between you and the receiver in order to trigger those animations for interceptions. If you try and get an interception like you have in years past where you're like 10 yards away from the receiver and you jump and make that incredible like intercept, that doesn't happen anymore. You have to close that gap between you and the receiver. And that can be really difficult because the gap in speed between linebackers and receivers is very relevant right now.
Yeah, man. Usering with your linebacker, very, very difficult. I played a bit of head-to-head in the beta as well now, and I've seen my linebacker put his wee arms up, but he's not jumping, man. There's no more jump. He's just like holding his hands out like, please, sir, may I have an interception? No, you may not. And the ball just sailing over his head. I love it. I like it, though, man. I like it.
It really forces you into the defensive coordinator mindset. It really does. Yeah. So if you're playing an opponent that's really heavy on the run, go out there in 4-3, go out there in 3-4, go out there in 4-4, in 4-6. Have that mentality of stopping the run with your linebackers. But if they're a passing guy, which a lot of people are in Madden, I've been running a lot of big dime and stuff like that, taking out like my defensive backs out there. We'll talk more about them, but I will say user-wise, defensive backs play very similar to what we saw with linebackers in Madden 19.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so linebackers, great against the run. CPU controlled and user controlled, not great against the pass.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is kind of like I've seen a lot. I've called the right play on defense, and then I've seen the ball just bounce off the hands of the linebacker. So that's kind of interesting. And again, you're gonna need I think sub packages. You're gonna need to have. Man, if it's first and second down, you probably want like a Sean Lee out there, okay? But then if it's third down, you're gonna want like a Miles Jack. You know what I mean? You're gonna want someone who can actually catch a ball. It's gonna be really, really interesting.
And that adds to the uniqueness of it as well, because not every linebacker's useless in coverage. Your Luke Kuechly's, your Miles Jacks, like they'll play coverage, much better.
Bobby
I
Wagner.
wouldn't say as good as a defensive back, but much better, so you can keep them in there.
So hot take right now. Two more things. Hot take. One. The OOP promo is going to be epic. Imagine if we get a DB at linebacker. That's going to be great, okay?
Give me a Derwin James linebacker card, and we will dominate the world together.
Boom, boom. And then two, we've spoken about the physics and the collisions so far in Madden 20 being amazing, okay? One thing that we also spoken about is the actual player model, the size, the width of some of these players. I had a fantastic moment playing in the Pro Bowl, okay, punt return, and I'm controlling McKinney, the linebacker from the Texans.
Yeah.
And Tariq Cohen is returning the punt, and I get open field one-on-one with him. I mistime my hit stick. I go just a little bit early, okay? So McKinney is stumbling forward. He's a giant player body in the game, like the actual model itself. He's shoulder pads seem like they're 10 feet wide, okay? And he's stumbling forward towards Cohen, who's CPU controlled, hardest setting as well, oh man, who then tries a juke. But because Cohen is so small and McKinney is so wide, he could not get out of the way of McKinney falling towards him. Wham! Massive hit stick, no fumble, but an epic collision. It was so funny to watch this. It was like watching a lunar eclipse or something, man. Like just McKinney flying in, eclipsing, the shadow appearing over Cohen as he tries to juke away. Smack. It was like one of my very first tackles as well in the game.
I was hovering over your shoulder when you made that play. I was gobsmacked a little bit. I was like, ah!
This looks and feels so good.
Imagine rolling out with Jadeveon Clowney or Leighton Vander Esch, those really big linebackers. They play the run so well. And I love that they are weaker against the pass because, again, that's how it kind of should be.
Final hot take on linebackers. The Dome Patrol. They always they swap years on the legends. The Dome Patrol. Those epic linebackers from the Saints. Go Google them. This year they're probably going to be in the game. Watch out, Saints themes team. Watch out.
Beautiful, beautiful linebackers. There's your hot takes. I believe, Trumpetmonkey, we've got one more position to cover.
One more position, director.
You don't know the power of defensive backs in Madden 20. They're a bit OP.
All right, let's get into the hot sizzliness of our defensive backs, your corners and
Nibble.
safeties. These guys, dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, as Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of Sith, just mentioned, they're kind of OP in some ways. Like, if you use them right, like I've seen more picks that were unanticipated than I think I ever have in Madden so far. But even if it's against me, like I can't help but be like, "Good on you, bro. That was a good play." You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy.
I gotta tell you, I'm loving. As a former corner, I first played American football for the Bondi Raiders a long time ago, and I was playing semi-pro basketball at the time, and they were like, "You're gonna be a corner," and I was like, "Great, what's that?" And so I became a DB, right? When they said cornerback, I was like, "You want me to throw the ball?" No, cornerback, not quarterback, cornerback. I was like, "Okay, great." So I'm on the defensive side of the ball, and I was taught some fundamentals day one that I had always wondered why they weren't in Madden. So if an amateur league in Sydney in the early noughties is teaching DBs how to do this, why aren't we seeing it in Madden? And now finally we are. I want to talk about probably one of my favorite things that I noticed very early on in the game. Bump coverage is a thing. And we saw this epic animation where it was in the Pro Bowl, so it's the best corners in the game at the moment, where a corner would bump a wide receiver who was then making a cross or a drag route and then move to the inside and take away the route and shadow the wide receiver, staying on their inside shoulder towards the quarterback by about 2 or 3 yards the whole route, exactly the way you're supposed to play a drag.
I was hovering your shoulder when you did that too. It was Darius Slay.
Oh my God.
And it
was so good. So good.
It really forces you to look at matchups and stuff like that as well, which is absolutely crazy. Like, that is exactly what I want to see in Madden. You've got Darius Slay on one side covering the slot. He's not going to be open. You're going to look to your tight end. You're going to look to your outside receivers, or maybe audible to a run. Like, that is exactly how you should think of running your offense versus these elite corner and defensive backs. So
like, man coverage and press is 100% a thing, but we spoke about this earlier. If you have a good wide receiver with a nice release, okay, they're getting in particular a quick release on a fade, or like literally just a kind of an X and go, right, and a go route, and you're able to dot it in over the top, but you got to get it quickly, because let's talk about safety play. Safeties in deep blues are playing those medium to deep balls really, really well. And I really, really like that, okay? Because it shouldn't just be a streak gets you a touchdown because you have Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the way it is, okay? Safeties are playing the over the top really, really well. And I really, really like it. And what it's forcing you to do is to make those really epic touch passes towards the sideline, just like real life. That's what we keep saying. And I really, really like it.
That's true. Because in Madden, almost everybody's looking on the inside, because I guess those are easier reads to make, but you really have to utilize the sidelines this year, especially if you're converting on second and long, third and long. You've got to pay attention to every part of the field.
Definitely. Now, I can tell you right now, comeback routes are really, really hard to stop no matter who you have at defensive back, okay? So comeback routes are absolutely a thing. Timing the pass perfectly on the breakout on the top of a C route is still kind of like a thing. If you don't have a great awareness or zone coverage, I believe, DB, sometimes the animation won't work. They won't jump up for a pick on a high point that is pretty close to them as well, behind them, like over their head. So you got to watch out for that, okay? Corners can't tackle very well.
No,
very interesting. And that is just like real life as well. You're seeing a lot of arm tackles, broken arm tackles. They do slow down the running backs, but the running backs like are really breaking those tackles. So you got to be careful right there. You need those linebackers and safeties.
That's why I
coming
would
in to
say
help.
this year it would be a great year to utilize your hybrid safeties. So you've got guys that can stop the run as well as they stop the pass. If you've got two of those guys back there, you run a lot of nickel, dime, whatever. They can help ensure those breakout touchdowns on the run don't happen as frequently, because you see those guys that literally just play the sticks. They're not going to work in this situation. Definitely utilize your linebackers with your defensive backs, and if not, make sure you've got hybrids back there to cover the run.
Now, you spoke about it earlier. Usering with DBs is probably the move this year. That's our hot take right away. One thing I love that they changed, though, I thought it was so OP in Madden 19, and it drove me crazy, especially because with lag, I couldn't always do it, was click on picks. So that's when the ball is in the air, you're clicking on to one of your DB defenders that is in the location of the ball, holding down Y and getting a super easy OP. Yeah, I mean, it's quick click skills, that's fine, but really that was it. You know what I mean? So it really came down to like, can you press two buttons really quickly? Now, that is not a thing this year. And case in point, if you've got a really tall wide receiver or a tight end and you go high point and then or you're getting high pointed and you click on and try to get the interception instead of just wrapping them up and making the tackle, careful. Because if you fall off that tackle, which I saw happen multiple times, the tight end is just going to the house, man. You're left on the ground. So click on interceptions, not a thing this year so far. I pray to the MUT gods that they don't change that. I love it because I thought it was way too OP. Then you're also... Yeah,
I find myself actually swatting the ball more now than I going for interceptions.
Yes,
because the animations they've added for defending the ball,
swats
and all that, there's so many of them, and it makes it feel like fresh every single time you defend the pass. Like literally, you'll come off 5 yards away from the receiver, throw your body up, and barely tap the ball with the tip of your fingers to stop. Yeah,
judo chop. Judo, I love it, man. They've added a few of them, and with the ball physics as well. Like the ball is just bouncing around, and they're not playing the ball. They're just going like they're slapping away like this, like they're trying to maul their wide receiver. It looks awesome. It plays awesome, and that's a really, really good piece of advice. If you're going for that pick, look out, man. You could be in trouble.
Yeah, I find myself playing a lot safer, with the way picks are working. But on the flip side of that, your CPU user guys, your CPU defensive backs, you can count on them more to make correct decisions in coverage. So whereas you think somebody is open if you are not using them, a lot of the times the defensive backs got you covered as long as you're in the correct formation, which is really refreshing. Now there are exploits. Stuff like crossers in some situations will still work, but not as frequently as we saw in Madden 19. And that is something that really it gets me excited to play defense in 20.
And I will say this as well. It was something that you brought up like a tiny bit earlier. The CPU making interceptions is a thing, but Aaron Rodgers, his X factor. He has something that activates where he cannot get intercepted by a CPU DB. Hot take. Keep an eye out for Aaron Rodgers cards, man, because that is going to be insane, man. So, man, but DBs, I like it. Director. I like them. I love how man coverage actually works. I can't wait to play some more head-to-head over the beta over the weekend. But all in all, really, really nice. Now, we don't have a designated section for special teams, but we will say this, punters are people too, and so are kickers. One thing I like about the kickoffs is that a squib kick is not just this gutter ball along the ground anymore. It's actually like a little arching squib kick that just lands over the top of the first row of blockers, which is really nice. I dig that. And also the camera at the kickoff kind of like pans sideways and watches the players as they run. It just looks really, really cool. Sky kicks are now sky kicks again. They don't go out of the back of the end zone.
Did you notice, let's say on a punt return, kick return, or even an interception, did you notice a more fluent motion in the camera in returns and stuff like that? Because I feel like I did.
Oh, yeah. the camera switch, you didn't or you did?
No, I did. I did notice.
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Me too. There, man. The camera switch is way better this year as well. 100%.
Man, that's something that really drove people insane in
Yeah.
Madden 19. So that's going to be well received in the community.
And the ball going through the air on kicks is absolutely different this year. That's the same with the passes, by the way. The ball just seems to like zip through the air differently on quarterback passes, but you'll notice that on the kicks as well, which is kind of interesting. And it feels like there's just some kicks that they're accurate, but they look like they're kind of waning toward you. You're like, oh my God, is it going in? But you nailed it. It even says perfect kick. But yeah, so I like the special teams as well. Punchers are people.
Punchers are people too. Now, last thoughts, gameplay as a whole. I guess it feels more fluent. There's a lot more freshness to the game. It feels as if every game is unique, I think specifically because of the X factors and paying attention to your opponent's roster. And I think this has made franchise really fun because you can pinpoint exactly who's on each team because you know the NFL. In MUT, I think it'll be maybe even funner because you do have to analyze who's on the field, what their X factor ability may be, how to stop, because there's a counter to all of them, how to stop it, and what to utilize on your own squad as far as X factors as well. So I don't know. It's been very fresh. It's been very exciting. I've enjoyed my time on just franchise so far. I'm so excited to get my hands on MUT because that's just going to take it to a whole new level.
Yeah. Yeah, and we only got to play like the very basic version of MUT. There was actually a cheeky moment where I went to the shop as well and was kind of like, is there a credit card saved to this particular EA play? I got that right here. That got a giggle from the peanut gallery. But yeah, man, Madden Ultimate Team looks like it's going to be so much fun. And actually your backups are going to be a thing this year because you're going to need covers linebackers, run linebackers. You're going to need, like blocking tight ends, possession tight ends, blocking wide receivers, possession wide receivers. I really, really like it. So, man, and you're going to need the third down running back
and
as well.
The utilization of all those different specific skill sets are going to be present in your game too. So, again, last example, like the Chargers, you've got yourself that possession wide receiver in Keenan Allen. If you need to go deep, you got yourself that Travis Benjamin with the high speed. Same thing goes for the running backs. You need that, power halfback. You got Melvin Gordon, and then the third down back being Austin Eckler. And you want to have that balance on your team. And then even into your actual gameplay, your actual scheme, you want to utilize both the run and the pass, I would say as equal as possible in order to get those opportunities for big plays. What do you say, Mud Dog? You happy with the Madden 20 so far?
Yeah, me like a Madden 20. Me and Mud Dog. Hello. Hello.
Mud Dog, I missed these crazy furballs when I was over there in LA hanging out with your buddy. But Mud Dogs can't wait to get their hands on some Madden 20. And guys, keep an eye out on our Twitter and also on this channel. We gave away like 40 beta codes, courtesy of EA. We have more news coming. We have more exciting news coming. We can't say anything just yet. But stay tuned.
Stay tuned. More things.
Director.
More stuff coming down the pipeline in the next few weeks. I'm so excited for all the announcements we got coming up, guys. We're really hoping we're going to step up the game with the YouTube channel, and Madden 20 is going to be a very good time. Well, Trumpetmonkey, it's been a very informative episode, and I'm excited to see what you guys, if you guys have played the beta, leave your feelings, your thoughts below. Let us know how you are enjoying it or things that need improvement. Be constructive in your criticism. We're trying to build a positive community here on MUT Force and on the channel, and just get hyped, guys. I think there's a lot of things that go into Madden 20 that I feel are going to be very well received by the community.
Yeah, and I loved meeting you, buddy.
Loved meeting you too, bro. Can't wait till we embrace again. Woo! All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of MUT Force. That's all we got. Trumpetmonkey, say goodbye to the good people.
Goodbye, people. Right. Trumpetmonkey shirts.
This has been the director and the Trumpetmonkey. As always, guys, stay frosty. My God, this guy.
Last chance, 4th and long, finding the will to bolt up. Bundle up, cause you know we stay frosty. I take my frosty chocolate, vanilla, or swirl. MUT Master YouTuber, come on, let's give it a whirl. MUT Madden Twitch streamer, put the snowman to shame. Staying frosty's the only way we stay alive in this game. They're reffing the match, directors directing the game. Scared of my underdog underdog team, you know them gods will be slain.